300 students watched as Dean Holloway placed Liam Ward's scholarship termination letter on the auditorium screen. If Liam could not prove he had created the stolen game engine, he would leave Westbridge with nothing but debt. Brandon Knox smiled for the live stream while Derek Shaw slid a contract across the table. They had the source files, the witnesses, and Liam's electronic signature. Even Evelyn Hart whispered that there was no safe move left. Liam saw 4 possible futures. In 3, he lost his scholarship. In the 4th, he kept it by accusing an innocent student, and that frightened him more than losing. Brandon leaned toward the microphone. "Go ahead, genius. Tell everyone the rich kids cheated because you couldn't compete." Instead of accusing anyone, Liam signed the contract Derek had prepared. Then he turned its final page toward the cameras and calmly asked Derek to read Clause 17. Derek's smile disappeared. The clause required both sides to submit every source file version, private payment, message, and edit connected to the project, including the evidence hidden on Derek's family server. An upload timer appeared behind Liam. Brandon lunged for the laptop, but Evelyn stepped into his path and said, "You wanted 300 witnesses. Now let them watch." 6 days earlier, Liam could not stop those same students from laughing when Brandon stole his seat. Then electricity stopped his heart, and a game forced him to lose the same battle 11,000 times. Before that night, Liam could design choices for imaginary heroes but could not make one for himself. He was 19, thin from missed meals, and talented enough to attend Westbridge only because a scholarship committee had overlooked his shaking hands. He grew up above his mother's laundromat in a town where broken appliances were repaired with patience and borrowed parts. His father had vanished before Liam learned to spell the man's last name. At Westbridge, students discussed seed funding over artisan coffee. Liam calculated whether the dining hall's soup contained enough calories to justify its price. He worked evenings in the campus simulation lab, repairing virtual reality stations and cleaning energy drink residue from keyboards owned by people who called him lucky for attending their school. Brandon Knox was the loudest of those people. His family owned luxury apartment developments, and Brandon treated every room as property he had not yet bothered to purchase. Derek Shaw was quieter. He remembered birthdays, offered favors, and changed the meaning of agreements after everyone else had stopped reading. Brandon enjoyed applause. Derek preferred leverage. They first noticed Liam because Evelyn Hart chose the empty seat beside him in Introduction to Systems Design. She had declined 3 invitations before class and accepted Liam's spare pencil without making him perform for it. Evelyn wore plain sweaters, repaired the strap of her own backpack, and never posted photographs. Rumors called her aloof, broke, secretly famous, or all 3 depending on who wanted her attention. Brandon decided Liam's proximity to her was an insult. Derek decided it might be useful. Within a week, Liam's notebook disappeared, his meal card stopped working, and edited photographs of his thrift store shoes circulated through the freshman group chat. Liam understood what they were doing. Understanding was not the same as resisting. Every confrontation opened a dozen terrible outcomes in his imagination, and he always chose silence because silence seemed least dangerous. Evelyn once found him rewriting 6 pages of notes, after Brandon spilled coffee across them. She offered to report the incident, but Liam said it had been an accident. "An accident is something nobody planned," she replied. "You're allowed to call a choice by its name." Liam thanked her, then apologized for making her wait, while he cleaned the table. Evelyn stared at him as if he had demonstrated a software bug no one could reproduce. His refuge was a game prototype called Paths Unwritten. He had built it for Professor Sato's design seminar, using an abandoned tactical game as a legal open-source foundation. The player controlled no warrior directly. Instead, every decision created branching consequences among villagers, soldiers, merchants, and enemies. Winning required understanding why people chose badly, not merely defeating them. Liam's prototype was brilliant and unfinished. The branch simulator consumed too much processing power, and an unexplained block of adaptive code kept reappearing after he deleted it. Late one Thursday, Professor Sato told him to go home. Liam promised he would after one final test, the same promise tired programmers had made shortly before every preventable disaster in history. A storm rattled the laboratory windows. Beneath Liam's desk, a cracked extension cable powered 3 borrowed processors because the facility's request had been waiting for approval for 14 days. At 2:13 in the morning, Paths Unwritten displayed a choice Liam had never programmed: accept player integration or terminate session. Liam assumed Derek had planted another prank. He clicked terminate, and every monitor in the lab showed the same red sentence: termination requires a complete ending. The extension cable sparked when Liam reached beneath the desk. Current locked his hand around the metal frame, arched through his chest, and erased the laboratory in a flash of white. He awoke inside the world of his prototype, standing before a burning village while 4 translucent choices hung in the air. Each promise rescued. Every choice killed someone. Liam selected the fastest route and watched the bridge collapse beneath fleeing children. The world reset before their screams ended. He warned the villagers first. Raiders entered through an unguarded mill and burned the clinic. The world reset. He negotiated with the raiders. A frightened soldier fired an arrow. The world reset. He fought, hid, surrendered, bribed, reasoned, threatened, sacrificed, and begged. Each failure began at the same bell, with the same smoke rising beyond the same wheat field. Time lost meaning. Liam started noticing details. A captain touched his wedding ring before lying. A merchant looked toward the granary whenever food was mentioned. A child knew a drainage tunnel no adult considered important. The world was not demanding the perfect command. It was teaching him that choices belonged to people, and people revealed themselves through patterns, fears, pride, and what they refused to discuss. On what felt like the 11,000th attempt, Liam stopped trying to control everyone. He gave each group truthful information, let them decide what risk they would accept, and built a plan from their choices. The village survived. Not everyone did. There was no golden victory screen, only dawn over damaged homes and survivors choosing what to rebuild. A voice without emotion asked Liam to preserve the completed branch. He answered yes because he wanted to remember the people who had died, even though none of them had been real. The sky split into lines of code. A final message appeared behind his eyes: branch memory installed. Observation requires verification. Liam woke in Westbridge Medical Center 31 hours after the accident. His mother slept in a chair with one hand wrapped around the paper cup and the other holding his childhood jacket. His chest hurt. His fingers trembled. A nurse explained that a security guard had found him without a pulse and that the automated defibrillator had probably saved his life. Nothing about him looked powerful. He needed help walking to the bathroom, lost his breath after 12 steps, and cried when his mother pretended she had not been frightened. Evelyn visited that afternoon carrying Liam's repaired backpack. She placed it beside the bed and said Professor Sato had secured his project files before the university locked the laboratory. Liam thanked her, then saw 3 versions of the next few seconds. In one, she asked about the game. In another, she criticized the unsafe cable. In the third, she left without explaining why she had come. All 3 felt like memories. The overlap made the room tilt, and Liam gripped the bed rail until his knuckles whitened. Evelyn called the nurse instead of demanding an explanation. After Liam stabilized, she wrote the date, time, and everything they had said on the back of his discharge envelope. Reality check, she said. If your memory feels strange later, use something physical. Liam had not told her what was happening. Evelyn simply recognized panic because she knew what it looked like when a person no longer trusted the room around them. Before leaving, she placed a cheap spiral notebook on the bed. Write down what actually happens. Ink is less persuasive than memory, but it is easier to cross-examine. Liam returned to campus 3 days later because missing another week could cost him the laboratory job that paid for everything his scholarship did not. He was still weak enough to pause halfway up the dormitory stairs. Owen Brooks met him with 2 controllers and announced that cardiac arrest did not erase a scheduled rematch. Owen was Liam's only gaming friend and could turn losing into a 5-minute comedy routine. During their arena match, Liam began recognizing the silence before each of Owen's attacks. He won 3 rounds, not through impossible speed, but by noticing how every joke concealed the same aggressive pattern. Owen lowered his controller. Did electrocution include premium downloadable content, or is this the free trial? The victory unlocked no magical prize. Liam simply understood how Owen constructed humor through timing, surprise, and misdirection, as if thousands of small social observations had suddenly organized themselves. Then pain split his forehead. Liam remembered Owen telling a joke that Owen had only considered telling, proving the new ability generated persuasive possibilities rather than truth. Liam wrote 2 rules in Evelyn's notebook. A branch is not evidence. Never punish anyone for something that happened only inside your head. The following morning, Brandon blocked Liam's usual seat beside Evelyn and displayed a gold donor badge. VIP seating, he announced. Scholarship students can admire it from the back. Several phones rose. Evelyn started to object, but Liam quietly moved into the aisle, giving Brandon exactly the victory he expected. Professor Sato entered and asked why the student presenting the morning's prototype demonstration was standing. The front chair had been reserved for Liam, not for a donor. Liam walked toward the lectern while Brandon climbed out of the seat. Passing him, Liam said, "Thanks for keeping it warm." Even Professor Sato had to hide a smile. At lunch, Liam's meal card failed while Brandon's friends filmed the cashier repeating that his account had been suspended. Brandon generously offered to buy him something from the budget menu. Liam checked the printed error code instead of accepting. The card had not run out of money. It had been disabled through a student event administration terminal 10 minutes earlier. Only Brandon and Derek had used that terminal while registering their gaming club table. Liam asked the cashier to print the access log and paid for a banana with the emergency dollar hidden inside his phone case. "Keep your offer," Liam told Brandon. "You may need it when campus services asks why feeding a hungry student was less entertaining than stopping him." Derek immediately called the incident a technical glitch. Liam agreed that glitches happened and sent the log to campus services without accusing either boy, leaving Derek unable to portray himself as the victim. An hour later, Brandon held up Liam's cracked phone before systems design and claimed he had found it beneath the desk. Liam clearly remembered placing it inside his zipped backpack. 4 explanations crowded Liam's mind, including one in which Derek had planted the phone. He rejected all 4 because none was evidence. Instead, Liam asked whether the classroom camera had been recording. Brandon laughed and tossed the phone toward him. "Relax. I was returning your antique." Liam caught it without looking away. "Then you won't mind helping us identify which part of the floor unzipped my backpack?" The camera angle could not prove the theft, but Brandon's laughter stopped. For the first time, he understood that even an unsuccessful prank would now leave a record. At lunch, Brandon approached their table carrying 2 milkshakes and an exaggerated peace offering. He apologized loudly enough for nearby phones to record and proposed a friendly wager. Westbridge's Game Society was holding open qualifiers that evening. Brandon offered to donate $500 to the campus food pantry if Liam defeated him in paths unwritten. If Brandon won, Liam would publicly admit that the phone incident was a misunderstanding and serve as his assistant during the innovation showcase. The offer was designed to make refusal look cowardly and acceptance look greedy. Liam saw several branches, all ending with Brandon controlling the story. Derek placed a printed agreement on the table. "Everything transparent. No tricks." Evelyn read it before Liam touched it. The contract allowed Brandon to select any current version of Liam's game, including unfinished builds that might contain developer commands. Liam pointed to the clause. Derek smiled as if impressed by a dog recognizing its name, and amended the language. Then Liam added conditions of his own. Each computer would use a clean university image, match files would be preserved, and both players would disclose any outside assistance or modified hardware. Brandon signed without reading the final page. Derek read every line twice, then signed as witness because refusing would reveal that transparency had never been the point. Professor Sato agreed to supervise after Liam explained the food pantry donation. She warned him that public victory could make the harassment worse, not better. "I know," Liam said, surprised to discover that he did. "But losing quietly hasn't made it stop." That evening, the game society room filled beyond capacity. Owen handled commentary, promising to remain unbiased unless someone offered pizza. Claire from campus media started a live stream, and Brandon's followers flooded the chat with jokes about Liam's hospital bracelet, which he still wore because removing it felt like tempting fate. Evelyn stood at the back instead of beside Liam. When he looked toward her, she tapped the spiral notebook visible beneath her arm. The match began in the same burning village Liam remembered from his impossible ordeal. Brandon selected the warrior faction, seized resources, and announced he would finish before the first in-game night. Liam chose no faction. He spoke with non-player characters, mapped supply routes, and let Brandon mistake patience for fear. The branch memories opened. Liam saw Brandon attack the mill, threaten the merchant, or chase a decoy across the bridge. Every possibility felt certain until he checked the live resource counter. Brandon attacked the bridge, choosing a fourth option Liam had not seen. Liam's defense collapsed, and the room erupted. For several minutes, Brandon dominated. Liam's head pulsed as he generated more branches, each one arriving faster and less reliably than the last. He closed his eyes, removed both hands from the keyboard, and remembered his own rule. Observation required verification. When he looked again, he ignored imagined outcomes and studied Brandon himself. Brandon glanced toward the audience before every dramatic attack and toward Derek before every unexpected strategic change. Derek was not signaling with his hands. His tapping had stopped, but his smartwatch screen brightened each time Brandon changed direction. Liam said nothing. Accusing them mid-match would create exactly the confused spectacle they wanted. Instead, he altered the game's public spectator delay from 0 to 30 seconds. Brandon's next attack arrived at the location Liam had occupied half a minute earlier. His confidence faltered. Liam evacuated the granary, opened the drainage tunnel, and convinced two rival non-player groups to defend the clinic for different reasons. He did not defeat Brandon's army. He made the army too expensive to maintain. Hungry soldiers deserted, merchants refused credit, and villagers guided one another through routes Brandon had never bothered to learn. The final screen did not declare Liam the conqueror. It judged that Brandon's faction had lost legitimacy, and removed him from command. Owen leaned toward the microphone. Apparently the final boss was basic community trust, undefeated since civilization began. The room broke into cheers. Brandon stared at the screen, unable to understand how possessing the strongest units had ended with nobody willing to follow him. Liam's new insight arrived as pain and clarity together. From Brandon he understood presentation, how posture, pauses, and visual focus could make a room follow one idea. But he also felt an ugly hunger for attention, a desire to keep Brandon seated beneath the lights and make the humiliation last. Liam recognized that impulse as partly Brandon's and partly his own. He ended the live stream before speaking. "The agreement says $500 to the food pantry," Liam said. "That's all I want from this match." Brandon laughed too loudly. "You think this proves something?" "Only that you signed a contract without reading it," Liam replied. "For everything else, we should wait for the evidence." Professor Sato asked Derek to submit both machines for inspection under the agreed conditions. Derek's calm finally cracked. The clean image on Brandon's computer contained no unauthorized software, but his smartwatch had received real-time messages from a spectator account linked to Derek's phone. Because the agreement required disclosure, the cheating invalidated Brandon's score and doubled the promised donation. The final page he had ignored contained a matching donation penalty suggested by Liam. Brandon's father's card declined when the game society tried to process the $1,000. For one dangerous second, Liam nearly laughed at the possibility that Brandon was less wealthy than he claimed. Then Brandon produced his own card and paid from a personal account. The act cost him enough to be real, and Liam gave him a quiet nod instead of another joke. The audience was disappointed by the lack of a final explosion. Evelyn was not. She waited until the room emptied and asked why Liam had stopped when he could have destroyed Brandon publicly. "Because I wanted him to know what being trapped under everyone's eyes felt like," Liam admitted. "And wanting it scared me." Evelyn considered that answer. "Good. Cruel people usually aren't frightened by their own cruelty." She took the notebook, wrote verified beneath the evening's events, and returned it. Her fingers brushed his long enough for Liam to forget every possible next sentence. Across the hall, Derek watched them through the glass door. He had lost a game he never officially played, and unlike Brandon, he understood that Liam had changed the rules of their entire relationship. By breakfast the next morning, 12 edited versions of the match were circulating across campus. Most showed Brandon's defeat. The most popular ended with Liam's line about signing contracts, and Owen pretending to hold a funeral for expensive confidence. The attention should have felt good. Instead, Liam flinched whenever a stranger recognized him, because branch memories multiplied around unfamiliar faces and filled every conversation with outcomes that had not happened. One student asked for a photograph. Liam saw himself agreeing, refusing, dropping the student's phone, and saying something cruel in Brandon's newly acquired style. He froze until the student quietly walked away. Evelyn found Liam gripping the edge of a hallway bench. She sat beside him without touching him and asked him to name 5 things he could verify. Blue lockers. Your gray sweater. Coffee stain on your left sleeve. Fire alarm above room 212. Liam swallowed. And I embarrassed someone who only wanted a picture. You became overwhelmed. Evelyn corrected. That is not the same as choosing to humiliate him. They found the student outside the library. Liam apologized without explaining the impossible memories, then took the photograph. The student's easy forgiveness hurt more than mockery because Liam had expected punishment. Evelyn wrote the encounter in his notebook and drew a line beneath it. Evidence that not every mistake becomes a disaster. Liam asked how she knew what to do when his memories overlapped. Evelyn said she had once endured panic attacks severe enough to make ordinary rooms feel staged. She offered no dramatic history. She simply said that strangers had photographed her family for years and that uncertainty eventually followed her even when cameras did not. Liam noticed she had revealed something private and resisted the urge to ask for the rest. Evelyn's shoulders relaxed when he changed the subject to whether cafeteria coffee legally qualified as coffee. Owen joined them carrying 3 cups and announced that the substance had been cleared of all charges due to lack of evidence. For several minutes, Liam laughed without borrowing anyone's timing. The difference mattered. Across campus, Brandon entered his father's office and discovered that $1,000 had cost far less than the humiliation attached to it. Mr. Knox did not care that Brandon had lost the game. He cared that the family name appeared beside the words cheating, declined card, and food pantry in the same search results. Brandon expected money to erase the problem. Instead, his father suspended his monthly allowance and ordered him to repair the damage without creating another headline. Derek waited outside the office. He told Brandon the punishment proved Liam had attacked his family, carefully transforming embarrassment into grievance. Brandon wanted another match. Derek said games were now Liam's territory and suggested fighting somewhere Liam still trusted the rules. That afternoon, Professor Sato announced that Liam's Path's unwritten prototype had been selected for the Innovation Showcase. The winner would receive a development grant large enough to replace his campus job for a year. The class applauded. Brandon did not. Derek applauded longer than anyone, which made Liam's headache begin before the sound stopped. Professor Sato required Liam to form a 3-person team. Liam chose Owen for interface testing and Evelyn for data analysis, surprising classmates who assumed Evelyn contributed nothing except silence. Evelyn accepted on one condition: every design decision would be documented in a shared repository with independent backups. Owen called that unromantic. Evelyn replied that nothing killed romance faster than an unrecoverable hard drive. Liam nearly asked whether romance was part of the project, but 4 possible answers appeared in his mind. He chose the safer truth. I'm glad you're both here. Their first meeting lasted until midnight. Liam redesigned the branch system. Evelyn found biased outcomes hidden inside the player data, and Owen discovered that every elderly character walked through doors sideways. The work felt different from Liam's endless night inside the game. Nobody obeyed him, yet every disagreement improved the design. When Evelyn rejected his favorite feature because it punished cautious players, Liam defended it too sharply. Brandon's talent for controlling a room slipped into his voice. Owen stopped joking. Evelyn closed her laptop and asked whether Liam wanted agreement or honest work. Shame heated Liam's face. He apologized, but Evelyn did not immediately reassure him. She waited until he explained what he had done wrong. I used confidence as a weapon because I was afraid your criticism was right, Liam said. Evelyn reopened the laptop. Good diagnosis. Now fix the feature. The moment was not tender, yet Liam trusted her more afterward. She had neither abandoned him nor pretended his behavior was harmless. At 12:17, the repository recorded an unauthorized login from Owen's account. A complete copy of Paths Unwritten was downloaded, then several source files were altered. Owen was sitting between Liam and Evelyn when the login occurred. His phone was on the table, and his laptop showed no remote session. Liam immediately saw branches in which Derek had stolen the password, Brandon had bribed Owen, or Owen had betrayed them voluntarily. The third possibility arrived with the emotional weight of memory. He looked at Owen and felt anger for an act that might never have happened. Owen recognized the accusation before Liam spoke. His usual smile faded. If you think I sold you out, ask me. Don't stare at me like a verdict. Liam opened the notebook. The written facts cleared enough space for reason. Owen had been present, the account had been used elsewhere, and motive remained unknown. I don't think you did it, Liam said. My head offered the possibility and made it feel true. I'm sorry I let you see the accusation before I checked it. Owen nodded without forgiving him immediately. That consequence was uncomfortable and deserved. Evelyn contacted Campus Information Security through the official emergency channel. Liam wanted to trace the intruder himself, but doing so could contaminate evidence and violate university policy. The security analyst confirmed that Owen's credentials had been used from a library workstation. The machine's camera had been disabled, and the access card reader was undergoing maintenance. It looked professional until Evelyn noticed the login occurred 12 seconds after a scheduled software restart. Someone had known the exact maintenance window. Only student technology volunteers received that schedule. Derek supervised the volunteer mailing list, but dozens of other students could also access it. Again, suspicion was not proof. The following morning, an anonymous complaint reached the Academic Integrity Office. It claimed Liam had stolen the core branch algorithm from a private company. Attached screenshots showed matching source code, a date earlier than Liam's first documented version, and a non-disclosure agreement bearing Liam's electronic signature. Dean Holloway temporarily froze the showcase grant and ordered Liam to stop development until a review could be held. Brandon encountered Liam outside the office with perfect timing. That's terrible, he said while his friend filmed. First the hospital, now plagiarism. Some people really can't catch a break. Liam saw the prepared camera angle and understood that anger was the product Brandon wanted. He looked directly at the phone instead. You're right, Liam said. This should be documented. Please keep recording while I ask why you knew about a confidential complaint before my own professor did. Brandon's expression broke for half a second. His friend lowered the phone, but Liam politely asked him to continue. Derek told me there was a rumor, Brandon said. Then the recording will help the university identify where the rumor started. Liam thanked the cameraman as if Brandon had volunteered evidence. The clip spread before Brandon could delete it. Students replayed the moment his sympathy turned into panic, adding captions that asked whether rich people came with factory-installed confession modes. It was satisfying, but Liam refused Owen's suggestion to repost the cruelist edit. He had learned that humiliation multiplied after the original target lost control of it. Brandon cornered Derek in the parking garage and demanded to know why he had not warned him. Derek calmly said Brandon's mistake had been speaking without a script. Then give me the script, Brandon snapped. Derek handed him a page containing 3 sentences for the disciplinary hearing. Brandon finally understood that Derek had never considered him a partner. Meanwhile, Evelyn examined the alleged non-disclosure agreement. The signature was genuine because Liam had signed an equipment loan form on the same platform during orientation. Someone had not forged his signature. They had placed authentic signature data onto a different document, then preserved metadata designed to look old. Liam remembered Derek distributing digital club waivers during the first week of school. Hundreds of students had signed without reading the permissions request. The memory offered a direction, not proof. Evelyn searched her archived email and found the waiver had requested access to reusable signature templates for event convenience. The permission was unethical but perhaps legal under the platform's broad terms. Derek had hidden abuse inside consent, exactly where he always hid. Liam wanted to expose him immediately. Evelyn warned that revealing their theory would teach Derek which trail to erase. They needed access logs from the signature company, but the company would release them only to the university or under a formal legal request. Professor Sato agreed to request preservation of the records. She could not promise access before the hearing, which was scheduled for 48 hours later. Liam's mother called after seeing the plagiarism rumor online. She did not ask whether he had stolen anything. She asked whether he had eaten. Her faith almost broke him. Liam told her the truth about the accusation but not the branch memories, or the voice inside the game. "Come home if you need to," she said. Coming home is not the same as failing. Liam realized he had been treating Westbridge as the only future in which his life mattered. The scholarship was important, but desperation made him easier to control. That night, he returned to the laundromat. The familiar heat, rotating machines, and smell of detergent quieted his mind better than any prediction. His mother gave him a screwdriver and asked him to repair a dryer that made a metallic knocking sound. She had always trusted his hands before he trusted them himself. Inside the machine, Liam found 3 coins, a child's plastic ring, and a loose bracket. Problems became less frightening when they were physical. Evelyn arrived near closing with takeout food and the spiral notebook. Liam's mother recognized her name and immediately offered enough embarrassing childhood stories to threaten national security. Liam expected Evelyn to become uncomfortable in the cramped apartment above the laundromat. Instead, she removed her expensive-looking coat, folded towels, and listened to his mother describe the time he tried to automate a toaster. When his mother went downstairs, Evelyn admitted that her coat cost more than Liam's first semester of housing. She had hidden its label because she wanted one room where her family's money did not enter before she did. Liam asked whether Hart was connected to Hartwell Capital. Evelyn nodded and waited for his behavior to change. It did not. Liam was too tired to perform surprise and too grateful that she had trusted him. "Does Brandon know?" he asked. "He suspects I have money," Evelyn said. "He thinks that is the most interesting thing about me." Liam looked toward the laundromat, where she had paired socks without being asked. "It isn't." Evelyn's guarded expression softened. For one quiet second, no imagined branch interrupted him. Then her laptop chimed. The signature platform had acknowledged Professor Sato's preservation request, and someone had attempted to delete the relevant account 17 because preserved records were automatically locked. Whoever controlled the account had just proven they knew exactly which evidence mattered. The attempt came from a private network owned by Shaw Civic Technologies, Derek's father's company. It still did not prove Derek had initiated the forgery, but it connected his family network to an effort to destroy evidence after the complaint. Liam could use that fact to defend himself. He could not yet prove who had attacked him. Evelyn closed the laptop. "Then tomorrow we do the harder thing. We tell only the truth we can prove." For the first time since the accident, Liam understood that restraint was not weakness. It was the difference between justice and a more convincing form of revenge. The academic integrity hearing began at 9 the next morning in a room designed to make 19-year-olds feel smaller than the table. Dean Holloway sat between Professor Sato and 2 faculty reviewers. Derek attended as president of the Student Technology Volunteers, officially present only to explain the signature platform. Brandon sat behind him in a dark suit and wore concern like a costume he had rented for the occasion. Liam arrived with Evelyn and Owen. His mother waited outside because observers were not permitted, but she had pressed his repaired childhood watch into his hand for luck. Derek's first advantage was simple. The stolen company files carry timestamps 6 weeks older than Liam's repository. His second advantage was a signed declaration from a student named Caleb Dunn, who claimed he had seen Liam copying material from a private server. Liam knew Caleb as a quiet sophomore who worked nights in the library. In one branch, Caleb was Derek's willing accomplice. In another, he had been paid. In a third, someone was threatening him. All three possibilities felt equally real, so Liam looked only at what Caleb did in the room. Caleb kept rubbing a pale strip around his wrist where a fitness tracker normally rested. He avoided Derek's face but looked toward Brandon whenever money was mentioned. Dean Holloway asked whether Liam had ever accessed Shaw's Civic Technologies. Liam answered that he had used its public developer portal during a class exercise, never its private server. Derek produced a network record showing Liam's student identification connecting to the private address at 2:14 a.m. on the night of his accident. For a moment, Liam's defense disappeared. At 2:14, he had been unconscious on the laboratory floor. Professor Sato confirmed that emergency services recorded the first medical response at 2:16, but the connection could have occurred seconds before the shock. Brandon whispered loudly that near death did not make theft legal. Liam wanted to expose the failed deletion from Derek's family network. Evelyn touched the notebook and reminded him with one glance to establish the facts in order. He asked the panel to compare the private server connection with the laboratory's automated crash report. The crash report showed Liam's workstation lost power at 2:13 and did not reconnect until campus security restored the circuit at 2:31. Therefore, his physical computer could not have made the 2:14 connection. Derek calmly replied that Liam might have scheduled a remote device. The explanation was possible, and possible explanations were Derek's favorite shelter. Evelyn submitted the preserved signature platform notice. It proved someone at Shaw Civic Technologies had tried to erase relevant records after the university locked them. Derek said his father's company employed 800 people. A network address did not identify a person. He was right, and Liam hated that honesty required admitting it. Dean Holloway asked Caleb to explain exactly what he had witnessed. Caleb said he saw Liam enter the library media room, connect a portable drive, and download files from a company portal 3 weeks earlier. Liam had never entered that media room. The access system could confirm it, but Derek explained that the reader had been unreliable during maintenance. Caleb's statement filled the gap that malfunctioning records left behind. That was why Derek needed him. Liam asked permission to question the witness. Dean Holloway allowed 5 minutes. He began with ordinary details: the date, time, room number, and color of the portable drive. Caleb answered too quickly. The drive was red, the room was Library B14, and Liam wore his green jacket. Liam did own a green jacket. It had been inside an evidence bag at the hospital after paramedics cut through one sleeve on the night of the shock. Caleb's story placed Liam in that jacket 2 days later. Owen produced a hospital photograph showing the ruined sleeve and timestamp. A small laugh traveled around the room before Dean Holloway silenced it. Caleb corrected himself and said the jacket might have been blue. Liam did not celebrate. A rehearsed witness changing one detail did not prove why he had lied. He asked Caleb whether anyone had promised him money. Caleb said no. He asked whether anyone had threatened him. Caleb said no again, but his hand covered the pale strip on his wrist. One branch showed Liam demanding the tracker. Another showed Caleb running. A third showed security finding stolen data on the device. Liam ignored them all and asked for a private recess. Outside the room, Evelyn questioned why he had stopped when Caleb was collapsing. Because he isn't looking at Derek like a partner, Liam said. He's looking at him like a landlord. Owen searched public housing records and found that Caleb's mother rented an apartment in a Knox development. The building had filed an eviction action 6 days earlier, then withdrawn it the morning Caleb signed his declaration. The timing was ugly but still circumstantial. Liam could present it and destroy Caleb's credibility, yet doing so would expose his family's financial crisis to the entire disciplinary record. Professor Sato warned that without attacking the witness, Liam might lose his scholarship before the platform logs arrived. Liam looked through the glass at Caleb sitting alone. He remembered every year his own mother had feared a rent increase. "Then I may lose it," he said. "I won't make poverty evidence of guilt." Evelyn had defended Liam with logic since the hospital. This was the moment she began to admire the person making the choices. When the hearing resumed, Liam did not mention the eviction. He asked Caleb one final question. If telling the truth could not cost your family its home, would your statement stay the same? Brandon rose and objected before Caleb answered. The room turned toward Brandon. No one outside the scheme should have understood the question well enough to fear it. Liam remained silent. Brandon's own interruption had supplied the reaction Liam needed. Dean Holloway ordered Brandon to sit and told Caleb he could amend his statement without immediate disciplinary punishment. Caleb began crying so quietly that the reviewers did not notice until his first word broke. He admitted Derek had written the declaration. Brandon had promised the eviction would disappear if Caleb signed, while Derek warned that refusing would make his library job disappear too. Brandon called him a liar. Derek did something colder. He denied ever meeting him. Caleb removed his old fitness tracker from his pocket. Its screen was cracked, but it contained a voice memo he had started accidentally during their meeting. The recording captured Brandon promising to handle the rent, and Derek correcting Caleb's description of the red portable drive. Owen leaned toward Liam and whispered, "Factory installed confession mode." Liam almost laughed, but Caleb's shaking hand stopped him. This victory had a victim inside it. Dean Holloway suspended the hearing and referred the coercion allegation to Student Conduct and Campus Council. Brandon tried to leave through the side door. His father's attorney, who had arrived during the recess, blocked the exit and quietly told him to stop making choices. Derek remained seated as though the confession concerned someone else. Liam asked the panel not to punish Caleb for the false statement before investigating the pressure placed on his family. Caleb looked at him for the first time. "Why are you helping me?" "Because they needed you to believe I would save myself by destroying you," Liam said. "I don't want them to be right." The scholarship termination was paused, and Liam regained temporary permission to prepare for the showcase under supervision. It was not complete vindication. The earlier source code timestamps remained unexplained, and Derek had not personally admitted anything. Outside, reporters from the student paper surrounded Brandon. One asked whether his family routinely traded housing security for testimony. Brandon attempted his usual smile. Behind him, a tenant rights group had already begun requesting records from every Knox property near campus. His effort to frighten one poor student had invited scrutiny across his family's entire business. Liam passed without adding a comment. The cleanest slap was sometimes allowing a person's own words to keep traveling. Evelyn found Liam's mother near the elevators and told her he had protected another student when protecting himself would have been easier. His mother hugged him hard enough to aggravate his healing ribs. Liam complained about the pain while holding her tighter. In the parking lot, Caleb revealed that Derek had approached him through a private gaming server. Every instruction had arrived after Derek challenged him to short strategy matches. Liam's headache sharpened. The detail connected competition, coercion, and the adaptive code in a way he could not yet explain. Caleb said Derek never lost. He studied players until he could predict which threat would move them. For the first time, Liam wondered whether Derek possessed a weaker version of branch memory, or whether Derek was simply what Liam might become without restraint. That uncertainty followed him back to the project laboratory. The team discovered that the stolen copy of Paths Unwritten had already been registered for the Innovation Showcase under a company called Meridian Student Labs. Its lead designer was Brandon Knox. Its technical director was Derek Shaw. They had not merely tried to disqualify Liam. They intended to present his work in the same auditorium and force him to watch. Owen suggested replacing every character in their build with Brandon wearing a diaper. Evelyn said the idea was emotionally persuasive and legally unhelpful. Liam opened the competition rules. A plagiarism dispute would remove both projects until ownership was resolved, which meant confronting them publicly could destroy his own chance to compete. Derek had designed another choice in which every obvious answer benefited him. Liam read the rules twice more and noticed that competing teams had to demonstrate they understood every component of the submitted source. Ownership could be faked with copied files. Understanding could not. He proposed allowing Brandon and Derek to keep believing their stolen build was complete. Evelyn asked what happened if they understood enough to pass. Then we lose honestly, Liam said. And we learn they are better than I thought. That answer reassured her more than confidence would have. For the next 2 days, Liam's team rebuilt only the portions compromised by the theft. Every change received a written reason, an independent backup, and a verification note in Evelyn's precise handwriting. Liam also inserted no traps, secret failures, or malicious code. Sabotaging a stolen copy would still be sabotage. Instead, he restored an unfinished ethical choice module that required presenters to explain why the simulation produced each consequence. Derek could copy its output. He could not copy the months Liam had spent understanding its design. On the evening before the showcase, Brandon confronted Liam in the empty auditorium and offered a private settlement. If Liam withdrew his complaint and surrendered the project name, Brandon would pay his remaining tuition and guarantee Caleb's family 1 year without rent. The offer targeted every vulnerable person at once. It was enough money to change Liam's life and small enough to leave Brandon in control. Liam asked whether Caleb knew his home had become part of the bargain. Brandon said poor people cared about results, not pride. Liam placed his phone on the table where Brandon could see it. Are you hoping I'm recording? Brandon stopped speaking. I'm not, Liam said. But now you understand why consent matters before turning someone's hardship into your leverage. Brandon accused him of pretending to be noble because Evelyn was watching from the balcony. Liam looked up. Evelyn was not there. That must be exhausting, Liam said. Doing everything for an audience and assuming everyone else does too. Brandon left without another offer. From the dark balcony, Derek had watched the exchange alone. He was learning that money could pressure Liam, but it could no longer predict him. Minutes later, Liam received the final showcase contract. Clause 17 required complete disclosure of every file, payment, message, and edit if ownership was challenged on stage. The clause had been written to frighten ordinary teams away from disputes. Liam signed because Derek's greatest weakness was believing rules belonged only to the person clever enough to weaponize them. Innovation Showcase morning began with Liam vomiting in a restroom while strangers outside debated whether he was a thief or a genius. The branch memories had multiplied overnight. Every time he imagined the stage, he remembered a different humiliation with the emotional certainty of an event already survived. Evelyn waited outside the stall and read verified facts from the notebook. Their repository was preserved, Caleb had withdrawn his statement, Clause 17 was signed, and Liam was not alone. The last fact was not written anywhere. Liam believed it anyway. When he emerged, Evelyn straightened his crooked tie. Her hands were steady until he noticed a faint tremor in her right thumb. She admitted that Hartwell Capital representatives would attend the showcase. If they recognized her, the private life she had built at Westbridge might end before lunch. Liam offered to remove her name from the presentation. Evelyn's expression hardened. I told you I was afraid, not that I wanted you to decide for me. Liam apologized. The instinct to protect could become another form of control when it erased someone's choice. Evelyn kept her name on the project and added her photograph to the team's slide. Whatever happened, she would enter the room as herself. Owen arrived carrying emergency crackers, 3 charging cables, and a t-shirt printed with the words I read Clause 17. Professor Sato confiscated the shirt before the dean saw it. Even Evelyn laughed hard enough to forget the cameras for a moment. In the auditorium lobby, Brandon's Meridian Student Labs occupied the largest booth. A polished banner displayed Liam's village, Liam's interface, and a slogan Owen had suggested as a joke months earlier. Brandon wore a headset and described the project as a revolutionary moral intelligence platform inspired by his family's commitment to ethical housing. Across the lobby, several Knox tenants held signs demanding repairs and transparent eviction records. Each time Brandon said ethical, the tenants raised their signs higher. He eventually stopped using the word. Liam's team received a folding table near the emergency exit because the ownership dispute had reduced its sponsor status. Owen examined Meridian's enormous screen and said, "It's reassuring to know originality can be purchased by the square foot." Liam refused to answer with another joke. The stolen artwork hurt because he remembered drawing it in his mother's laundromat after midnight. Evelyn placed the original sketchbook on their small table. Coffee rings, eraser marks, and handwritten dates made it less impressive than Meridian's display and far more difficult to fake. Visitors began gathering around the sketches. They wanted to see how the game had changed rather than merely watch a perfect trailer. Brandon noticed the crowd shifting and announced a live preview half an hour ahead of schedule. His copy build opened beautifully. Derek had repaired obvious errors and hired 2 graduate programmers to make the interface appear more sophisticated than Liam's current version. For several minutes, Meridian looked like the better team. Liam felt Owen waiting for reassurance and Evelyn waiting for honesty. They improved parts of it, he admitted. We should learn from that. The answer steadied the team. Their goal was not to pretend opponents were incompetent. It was to prove whose understanding created the work. Brandon guided a group of villagers toward a fortified bridge. The audience applauded when his soldiers repelled the first attack. Then a child character asked why the bridge had been defended while the clinic remained without medicine. Brandon searched the interface for a combat response. The ethical choice module offered none. A reviewer asked how the simulation weighted civilian harm against territorial control. Brandon repeated a phrase from the documentation about emergent moral vectors. The reviewer asked what a moral vector contained. Brandon looked toward Derek, but showcase rules prohibited team assistance during individual technical questions. It contains the morality, Brandon said. Silence lasted exactly long enough for Owen to whisper, "Groundbreaking." The room burst into laughter. Brandon tried to recover by clicking through the module and accidentally revealed a developer note written by Liam. If this value looks certain, the model is lying. The reviewer asked why Meridian's supposedly finished intelligence described its own output as a lie. Brandon blamed a junior programmer. One of the hired graduate students removed his Meridian badge and stated loudly that he had been contracted only to repair interface code, not develop the underlying system. Derek ended the demonstration before more questions could reach him. The first public blow belonged to Brandon, but Derek did not appear worried. Liam recognized that calm as the space around a hidden choice. Minutes before Liam's presentation, Dean Holloway received a new anonymous package. It contained video of Liam predicting Brandon's moves during the game's society match, medical records describing hallucination-like symptoms, and fragments of adaptive code found on the private Shaw server. The accompanying letter argued that Liam had not written paths unwritten at all. It claimed an experimental Shaw algorithm had generated the project, while Liam falsely claimed authorship. The accusation reversed the entire dispute. If true, Derek's family owned the technology, and Liam's strange new abilities became evidence that he had been exposed to stolen software. Dean Holloway postponed Liam's presentation and placed the scholarship termination letter on the auditorium screen. 300 students watched the future from the opening become the present. Brandon smiled for the live stream while Derek slid the final showcase contract across the table. They had source files, witnesses, and Liam's genuine electronic signature. Even Evelyn whispered that there was no safe move left. Liam saw 4 possible futures. In 3, he lost his scholarship. In the 4th, he saved himself by claiming Owen had secretly downloaded the Shaw algorithm. That branch felt disturbingly easy. Owen had the access, technical knowledge, and compromised account. The available evidence could be arranged around him. Liam looked at his friend and understood why the false future had frightened him in the hook. It was not impossible. It was tempting. Brandon leaned toward the microphone. Go ahead, genius. Tell everyone the rich kids cheated because you couldn't compete. Liam signed the contract Derek had prepared and turned to its final page. He asked Derek to read Clause 17 aloud. Derek's smile disappeared for the first time that morning. The clause required every disputing party to submit all source versions, private payments, messages, and edits connected to the project. Derek argued that the clause applied only to student teams, not corporate servers owned by their families. Evelyn stood and identified herself as Evelyn Rose Hart, beneficiary and board observer of Hartwell Capital's Education Fund. A stir moved through the sponsors section. Hartwell Capital was the largest outside investor in Shaw Civic Technologies. Evelyn had spent months hiding her family name. She now used it publicly, not to rescue Liam with money, but to establish the fund's contractual audit rights over the Shaw server. She presented a signed authorization from the fund's compliance director. Shaw Civic could refuse the audit, but refusal would automatically suspend its next investment payment. Derek stared at her as if she had changed species. "You thought the quiet girl was decoration," Evelyn said. "That was never my mistake." The audience erupted, but Evelyn's face remained pale. Saving Liam had cost the anonymity she could not recover. Liam wanted to thank her. Instead, he asked whether she was certain. "No," she answered. "I'm choosing it anyway." Dean Holloway activated the contract's disclosure procedure. A countdown appeared on the main screen while both teams uploaded their records. Brandon lunged for Derek's laptop when he realized private messages would be included. Evelyn stepped between him and the table. "You wanted 300 witnesses," she said. "Now let them watch." The first record showed Brandon paying the graduate programmers through 3 personal accounts. Payment was not proof of theft, but the attached instructions told them to remove Liam's name from developer comments without changing the underlying architecture. Brandon claimed Derek had written the instructions from his account. Derek responded that Brandon had approved every payment. Their partnership lasted less than 30 seconds once the documents stopped being private. The next record showed Caleb's mother's eviction case being withdrawn 11 minutes after Brandon messaged Derek. "Our witness is ready." Tenant advocates in the lobby began reading the timestamp aloud. Mr. Knox left the sponsors section before anyone could ask him a question. Brandon followed, but Dean Holloway reminded him that leaving during a contractual audit would forfeit Meridian's entry and constitute refusal to cooperate. For the first time in his life, Brandon's money could purchase either an exit nor a better rule. He returned to his chair beneath the same cameras he had arranged for Liam. Liam felt the room waiting for him to humiliate Brandon. Branches offered perfect lines, each sharper than the last. He chose none of them. That restraint landed harder than a speech because Brandon understood he was no longer important enough to control Liam's behavior. The Shaw server records were more complicated. Several source fragments genuinely predated Liam's project by almost 2 years. Professor Sato compared them with paths unwritten and confirmed that the adaptive structure shared unusual sequences unlikely to be coincidence. The room's sympathy shifted again. Derek recovered his calm. "My family's algorithm entered his machine," Derek said. "Everything built from it belongs to us." Liam could disprove the stolen presentation, but he could not explain why code from a private corporate experiment had appeared inside his prototype before the electrical accident. Evelyn searched the disclosed files for the first deployment record. The earliest version had not been installed by Liam, Derek, or anyone at Westbridge. It had been delivered through an automatic update signed by a company called Palinode Systems. Palinode did not appear in public corporate registries. Its digital certificate had expired 5 years earlier, yet the update had been authenticated 6 weeks ago. The evidence cleared Liam of stealing directly from Shaw Civic, but it introduced a larger question nobody in the auditorium could answer. Someone had planted the same adaptive code in both systems. Derek had tried to weaponize a secret he did not understand. Dean Holloway dismissed the immediate termination request and restored Liam's scholarship pending a technical investigation. Meridian Student Labs was disqualified for undisclosed contractors, coerced testimony, and presenting copied student work. Brandon's live stream continued recording as the Meridian banner was removed behind him. Owen looked into the nearest camera. For legal reasons, the banner resigned to pursue other opportunities. Even Caleb, watching from the hallway, laughed through tears. Derek collected his papers without visible anger. Losing the showcase had cost him reputation, but the Palinode discovery gave him something more valuable than victory. As he passed Liam, he whispered, "You really don't know what happened to you." Liam's branch memories produced no answer. For once, Derek's threat contained no performance. He was afraid too. The showcase committee invited Liam's team to complete the presentation after lunch, but Liam asked for a short delay. He found Evelyn alone in an equipment corridor, removing the plain badge that had hidden her full name. Her phone displayed 43 missed calls. News of the heart heir attending Westbridge anonymously had already escaped the auditorium. I wanted 1 year in which people chose me before they chose what my family could do," she said. Liam apologized because his crisis had taken that year from her. Evelyn shook her head. "Derek created the crisis. I made the choice. Don't steal my choice just to carry the guilt." Liam understood the correction, but understanding did not erase what she had lost. He sat beside her on the floor, close enough that their shoulders touched, and did not offer a solution. After a long silence, Evelyn rested her head against him. "I'm still angry," she said. "At me?" "At everyone. You are currently included at a manageable percentage." Liam laughed, then winced when the movement pulled his healing ribs. Evelyn's hand found his and remained there until both their breathing slowed. When they returned to the auditorium, they presented paths unwritten without pretending it could predict perfect choices. Liam explained that its purpose was to reveal consequences people ignored, not tell them what morality required. Evelyn demonstrated how biased data could make confident predictions dangerously unfair. Owen showed the elderly characters walking sideways through doors and called it their strongest argument for continued funding. The audience laughed with them rather than at Liam. Their imperfect demonstration received the showcase's research grant and a requirement for independent ethics review. Liam accepted both the prize and the restriction. A powerful system deserved supervision, especially when its creator no longer trusted the source of its power. That evening, the three sat on the auditorium stage eating vending machine crackers beneath Meridian's half-removed banner. Owen asked whether rich enemies usually arrived in sets of 2 or whether Westbridge offered a subscription plan. Before Liam could answer, Caleb forwarded a message Derek had sent minutes after the hearing. The message contained invitations to a private intercollegiate gaming league and 3 names ranked above Derek. Each name belonged to a wealthy upperclassman with access to a different part of Westbridge's technology network. At the bottom, Derek had written one sentence: "Liam only becomes dangerous after someone challenges him." The observation was not entirely correct, but it was close enough to make Liam's hands cold. Someone had begun studying the rules of his ability. Liam spent the following night copying Derek's message into the spiral notebook, then writing what it proved and what it did not. It proved Derek had noticed a connection between challenges and Liam's changes. It did not prove Derek understood the connection or Palinode's purpose. Owen wanted to confront him before breakfast. Evelyn wanted to preserve the message and observe whom Derek contacted next. Liam chose Evelyn's plan, but he explained his reason to Owen instead of expecting blind agreement. Owen disliked waiting. He agreed because Liam had finally treated disagreement as loyalty rather than betrayal. The showcase scandal transformed campus overnight. Brandon's face disappeared from Meridian's abandoned website, and Shaw Civic Technologies issued a statement blaming unauthorized student activity. Derek remained enrolled because the investigation had not yet established which messages he personally sent. Brandon received an interim suspension from student organizations, yet his family's attorney prevented the university from imposing stronger punishment before a formal hearing. Both young men had lost public control, but neither had accepted responsibility. On Monday, Brandon returned to systems design wearing sunglasses indoors and behaving as though the room had failed him. No one surrendered a seat. He walked toward Liam's table, then noticed every nearby student turning a phone face down. They would not provide the audience he needed. Brandon asked Evelyn whether she had enjoyed pretending to be poor. Evelyn answered, "I never pretended. You were the one who believed money was a personality." Brandon tried to laugh, but the room remained silent. Liam did not add another line. Evelyn had defended herself, and turning her answer into his victory would diminish it. Professor Sato assigned a lesson on informed consent and asked Brandon to explain why a signature alone might not demonstrate meaningful agreement. The class recognized the example. Brandon stared at the page and said he did not know. "Then today is a useful day to learn," Professor Sato replied. The humiliation was quieter than the showcase and more lasting. Brandon had to remain in the room and study the harm he once treated as entertainment. Derek did not attend class. He sent Liam an invitation to meet inside the private simulation laboratory that evening. The message promised access to Palinode's original code if Liam came alone. Every branch in Liam's mind described the invitation as a trap. That did not make the conclusion false, but it did make careful verification necessary. He showed the message to campus security, Professor Sato, Evelyn, and Owen. Campus security offered to forbid the meeting. Liam asked them to supervise remotely instead, with Derek informed that the room would be recorded. If Derek refused transparent conditions, there would be no meeting. Derek accepted within a minute. At 7, Liam entered the simulation laboratory while Evelyn and Owen watched through the control room glass. Derek sat before 2 linked computers. Between them rested a portable server and a printed copy of the showcase contract. He said Palinode had contacted him through an encrypted channel shortly after Liam's accident. The sender offered information about branch memory in exchange for data from anyone exposed to the adaptive code. Derek claimed he had never agreed. Liam asked why the server contained organized recordings of their matches, conversations, medical episodes, and reaction times. Curiosity, Derek replied. Curiosity asks permission, Liam said. Surveillance asks forgiveness after it gets caught. Derek opened a private version of Paths Unwritten. Its map contained Westbridge instead of the burning village. Digital representations of Liam, Evelyn, Owen, Brandon, Caleb, and Professor Sato moved through predicted schedules. Derek had transformed real classmates into controllable game pieces. He argued that the model prevented harm by showing how people would react before mistakes became irreversible. Liam selected Digital Caleb. The model listed eviction pressure as a useful compliance variable. You did not prevent that harm, Liam said. You priced it. Derek's expression tightened because the sentence described him more accurately than any accusation at the hearing. He offered Liam a challenge. If Liam won one match, Derek would surrender the server and provide every Palinode message. If Derek won, Liam would submit to a supervised neurological scan so they could learn what the code had installed. The scan sounded reasonable. Derek's contract did not. Evelyn reviewed it through the shared screen and found language granting Shaw Civic permanent commercial rights to all neural patterns collected. Liam asked Derek to remove the ownership clause. Derek refused and accused him of being afraid to learn what he had become. Liam stood to leave. Derek had prepared arguments for greed, pride, fear, and curiosity. He had no answer for a person willing to refuse the game. Wait, he said. Liam reached the door before turning. A voluntary challenge remains voluntary only while no is allowed. Derek removed the ownership clause and limited the agreement to the server and message archive. Evelyn verified each revision, while campus council observed remotely. Only then did Liam sign. The match placed both players in control of rival evacuation teams after a chemical fire divided a simulated city. Resources were scarce, communication channels unreliable, and every rescue district reduced the time available to another. Derek immediately optimized survival totals. He closed low population routes and redirected vehicles toward areas with the highest statistical return. Liam's branch memory showed hundreds of responses. Each attempt to beat Derek's numbers created a different abandoned neighborhood. For the first hour, Derek saved more people. He had studied Liam's habit of protecting vulnerable characters and designed false emergencies to drain his vehicles. Liam responded to the first distress call and found an empty school. He responded to the second and lost an ambulance in a collapsed tunnel. The observers watched Derek's lead widen. Owen asked whether they could communicate with Liam. The contract prohibited coaching but allowed each player to use teammates represented inside the simulation. Derek had disabled his simulated partners to eliminate unpredictable variables. Liam's versions of Evelyn and Owen still possessed independent decision-making routines derived from months of project work. He realized he had been treating them as units waiting for instructions. Liam sent both characters the verified facts and asked what they thought, exactly as he had done during the final village loop. Simulated Owen noticed that every false distress call used technically correct language without local slang. Simulated Evelyn discovered that Derek's survival totals counted registered residents, not undocumented workers, unhoused people, or night shift commuters. Derek's superior numbers described only the people his model considered visible. Liam stopped competing for Derek's score. He opened community radio channels, asked local characters to verify distress calls, and allowed neighborhoods to organize their own evacuation routes. The plan looked chaotic. Derek smiled as Liam's centralized control collapsed. Then volunteer drivers began reaching streets the official map had ignored. Restaurant workers translated warnings. Bus mechanics repaired abandoned vehicles. Teenagers marked safe stairwells with spray paint. Liam's rescue total passed Derek's because trust revealed people and resources absent from the model. Derek released a final complication. The chemical cloud shifted toward the river district, where saving one hospital would require abandoning 3 crowded shelters. Branch memory offered Liam no clean victory. He could save the hospital, save more people at the shelters, or divide resources and probably fail at both. Derek waited for Liam to sacrifice the smaller number, confident that public scrutiny would force him toward mathematical efficiency. Liam contacted the hospital director and shelter coordinators. He told them the truth and asked what resources they could contribute. The hospital evacuated mobile patients toward the shelters and used its oxygen system to protect those who could not move. Shelter volunteers sent empty buses back for critical patients. Neither group waited to be saved. Given honest information, they saved one another. The scenario ended with fewer casualties than any route in Derek's prediction tree. The game declared Liam's network stable and Derek's command structure abandoned. Derek demanded a replay, claiming the independent characters had introduced unfair randomness. "They introduce people," Liam said. "That is the part your model keeps deleting." The control room remained silent until Owen pressed the intercom. "For the record, I would like my digital likeness paid overtime." Laughter broke the tension. Derek looked toward the glass and realized every condition, revision, and result had been witnessed. Liam's victory triggered another painful reorganization inside his mind. From Derek, he understood negotiation as architecture, incentives, hidden costs, fallback positions, and the power of being willing to walk away. The knowledge carried Derek's cold temptation to reduce human beings to variables. Liam collapsed beside the console as contradictory memories flooded him. In one, Evelyn entered and embraced him. In another, she stole the server. In a third, Derek attacked Owen through the control system. Liam shut his eyes and shouted that nobody should move. Evelyn ignored the order. She entered slowly, placed the spiral notebook beneath his hand, and asked him to identify her using verified memories. Liam remembered her gray sweater at the hospital, the coffee stain, the laundromat towels, and her head resting against his shoulder. "Evelyn Hart," he whispered. "Unfortunately," she said, and squeezed his hand. The humor gave reality somewhere to settle. Derek watched from the opposite side of the room. For the first time, he understood that Liam's ability was not a gift without cost. He surrendered the server according to the contract. The Palinode archive contained no company representative, payment request, or ordinary business proposal. Its messages came from accounts created seconds before use and erased immediately afterward. The final message to Derek instructed him to provoke repeated challenges because competitive stress accelerated. Integration. Derek had known the games changed Liam. He had continued anyway because he wanted to observe the result. Campus security confiscated the server. Derek was escorted to a conduct interview for unauthorized surveillance and misuse of student data. Before leaving, he told Liam that Palinode would simply find someone else. "Then help us stop it," Liam replied. Derek laughed bitterly. "After everything, you think I can become useful? Useful is not the same as forgiven." The distinction followed Derek into the hallway. The conduct board suspended him from all technology systems and student leadership, while the criminal and privacy investigations proceeded. Brandon's final hearing took place 2 days later. Caleb's recording, the housing records, and Brandon's own live stream established a pattern no attorney could edit into a misunderstanding. He received a semester suspension and was required to complete restitution work with an independent tenant support organization. Brandon called the punishment humiliating. Caleb answered from the hearing gallery. "Humiliation is what you filmed. This is consequence." No one laughed, which made the sentence heavier. Mr. Knox announced that Brandon would appeal. Several tenants announced their own coordinated legal complaints before he finished speaking. Brandon had tried to use one family's housing as leverage and had taught dozens of families to compare their records. Outside the administration building, he approached Liam without a camera for the first time. He asked whether Liam was satisfied. Liam said satisfaction would be Caleb's family feeling safe at home, not Brandon feeling small. Brandon had no prepared response because the answer offered neither absolution nor a fight. He walked away looking younger than he had at the start of the semester. Caleb kept his library job. The university moved his family's emergency housing assistance to an independent office so no donor family could influence it. Owen proposed celebrating with the most expensive restaurant Brandon could no longer afford. Liam chose the diner across from the laundromat, where his mother knew the owner, and dessert arrived whether anyone ordered it. Evelyn appeared wearing the same plain sweater she had worn at the hospital, though photographers now waited across the street. Liam asked whether she wanted to leave through the kitchen. She looked at the cameras, then at him. "I want to decide after dinner." The four of them crowded into a booth and argued about whether Owen's digital likeness deserved royalties. For one evening, nobody discussed Palinode, hearings, money, or possible futures. When Owen and Liam's mother left to settle an invented emergency at the laundromat, Liam realized the booth had become suspiciously private. Evelyn admitted they had planned the disappearance. Liam opened his laptop because he assumed she wanted to review project changes. She closed it gently. "Liam, this is a date. You do not have to debug it." He saw 6 possible responses and distrusted all of them. So he told the truth. "I have wanted this since you wrote reality down for me in the hospital." Evelyn's eyes softened. "That was a much better answer than whatever your superpower suggested." Their first kiss was brief, nervous, and interrupted when Owen pressed his face against the diner window while Liam's mother dragged him away. Evelyn laughed against Liam's shoulder. The moment was imperfect enough to be real. Later, they crossed the street together without hiding from the photographers. Liam did not become rich overnight. The showcase grant paid his project expenses, and a licensing agreement provided enough income for him to reduce his laboratory shifts. He kept the cracked phone, second-hand clothes, and repaired watch because growth did not require erasing the person who had survived before it. Paths Unwritten entered an independent ethics review led by Professor Sato and Evelyn, with Owen appointed unofficial inspector of sideways elderly characters. Liam added a 4th rule to the spiral notebook: a person is never only the outcome you predict for them. On Friday night, his repaired laboratory workstation powered on by itself. The screen displayed no company logo, only the burning village from his 11,000 failed lives. 3 new player profiles appeared above the map, matching the wealthy upperclassman named in Derek's private league invitation. Below them, a 4th profile carried Liam's face and an integration score of 12%. A message typed itself across the screen: 2 local rivals complete. 3 campus gatekeepers available. Liam disconnected the network cable. The message continued typing. Evelyn photographed the screen while Owen called Professor Sato and campus security. For the first time, they responded to the impossible event as a team rather than asking Liam to prove it alone. The screen offered a new choice: accept next challenge or lose access to branch memory. Liam reached toward the keyboard then stopped. He had spent the episode believing power came from winning every challenge placed before him. Now he understood that choosing who deserved access to him was also a form of strength. He shut down the workstation without answering. In a private gaming suite across campus, 3 upperclassmen watched Liam's screen go dark. The first laughed and offered to challenge him by morning. The second warned that Liam had defeated opponents who underestimated consent, evidence, and loyalty. The third said nothing. He opened a file containing Evelyn's newly exposed identity and began designing a challenge Liam could not simply refuse. Back in the laboratory, Liam took Evelyn's hand while the powerless monitor reflected all 3 friends standing together. He had entered Westbridge believing survival meant becoming strong enough that nobody could humiliate him again. He left the dark laboratory knowing something harder. Real strength was refusing to become cruel when cruelty would have been easy. If you want to see Liam face the 3 campus gatekeepers, subscribe now and continue with episode 2.